am back. Sorry about that. I had a little hiccup just a few minutes ago when I was going live, so y'all gotta apologize for that and everything. But sometimes, some things work out. So let's talk 1 minute, 1 second about not only Ryan Coogler, but I'm going to start out with Jussie Smollett. And the reason I'm going to start out with Jussie Smollett is because of pure simple fact. This has gone too far, too long. Okay? It is going too far, too long. I thought it was over when they first convicted him. I forgot they had to have a sentencing hearing. So we got to bear Jussie Smollett some more. But let me tell you what I have a problem with Jussie Smollett, this whole case. Not only was it a lie, not only did you have the nerve to ask for a resentencing adjustment, not only did you have the nerve to ask for a new trial, not only did you have the nerve to go into the courtroom and act as if you were a victim. Jussie, you ain't no victim, guy. You're not a victim. How are you a victim? You set all this up. And now it's time to pay the piper. And that's the way things go. I was quite disturbed how he sat there, just like an actor would, how he sat there. And now, no, yo, guys, you should be this as upset as I am about it. But it was just amazing to me how he sat there and he had the nerve and the audacity to actually address the judge and say to the judge, Your Honor, I respect you, but if anything happens to me in prison, I'm not suicidal. If anything happens to you in prison, what did you just do? Did you free all the people? Did you steal millions and millions and revert? What did you do worthy of you being taken out in prison by some superficial entity? Like he was like Epstein or one of those guys. Not to say that this can't happen to a man of color, but in this situation, no. What you did was, my friend, you not only messed up your career, you messed up your potential chances in the future. Now, I got a question, and I know y'all gonna ask this, right? How many of y'all were disturbed at the end of that video? And the video is in the link in the description box. So you guys can go check out the video real quick. It's about 9 minutes long. I'll be here with you for a minute. I put it up because I wanted you guys to see exactly how he was acting. And I wanted to examine a little bit of, do you people really think that this guy is someone that should be held at prestige after he's released from prison? Is this somebody, because people are going to go back and rock with Jussie. There are people that actually believe him. And I can't see it in my mind how people actually believe this guy, actually take him at face value and actually rally behind him and say, hey, you know what? Jesse's innocent. Jussie, or whatever the frick his name is. Jussie's innocent, which is a ridiculous name. Jussie? Who names a kid Jussie? I can see Jesse. Jussie? What is that? Like a dum 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 dum. Sounds real hillbilly-ish. Oh yeah. There are going to be people that not only support him the whole time he's in jail, but what I'm trying to tell you is by the time he comes home from jail, you're going to have even more people celebrate him. They're going to celebrate his, I'm going to tell you how this all is going to go down. They're going to celebrate his release. He's going to write some memoir or something like that while he's in prison. And then he's going to get released. He's going to sell the book. And then you guys are going to turn around and you're going to forget all about it, just like everything else, because it's not flashing. It's not the story right now. So you're going to forget all about what Jussie did. You're going to forget all about him trying to frame them two African brothers, because that's what he did. Him and his legal defense team. They tried to frame those guys because you were caught out, dude. You understand what I'm saying? The prosecution itself was the ones that opened the bottle and showed that you were having some kind of relationship or ongoings with one of the brothers. So that didn't help you either, because now you look like a disgruntled lover or some shit. The point here is this, Jussie, is it a possibility that you'll go into prison and find true love based on your, alphabet regimen? I don't know. Sexual orientation. Is it fair to say that we just really sent Jussie Smollett on vacation? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Is it a possibility, being his sexual orientation, that he's taking this literally on the chin? I mean, I'm just asking the question. Is it a possibility that Jussie can go into prison and find love? Would it be a story? Jussie comes out and he says, hey, guess what, guys? I'm engaged. He's 305 Capricorn. What's going on? What if Jussie went in and found the love of his life and came out of prison and says, I was jumping the broom, I'm getting married now? I mean, you got to throw up the possibility. Isn't he part of the LBGT community? Okay, so you're about to be around a whole bunch of mens. A whole bunch of mens. So what would Jussie be getting into? I mean, is he going to work in the yard? What's going to be his assigned duty? Are they going to turn Jussie out? And I know I shouldn't be talking so much. I got pink highlights in my hoodie, but whoa. I'm just saying there's a possibility that Jussie might go in and actually fall in love. And they might take the story and twist it. And that might be his mediocre rise back up the ladder. Now, production companies are calling him. Now, talent agents are calling him, or he's going to auditions or whatever. He's back in the game. And I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. Jussie Smollett is not going to lose off this one. He's got everything to gain. In fact, I predict he's going to be more popular when he comes out than he was during this whole debacle. During this debacle, the world just got to know his name because of the things he did. I know a lot of y'all won't understand me, but what I'm trying to tell you is when he gets out of prison, there's going to be a whole bunch of people celebrating, okay? There's a whole bunch of people now in that community and in the Black community, which is kind of like the Black and Latin community, and specifically the segment within it that's the LBGT community, from what I've been seeing and I've been researching, they somewhat back him. And then I see there's another portion from what I see that doesn't back him. And I want to say salute to y'all because y'all see right through it. So I'm just asking the question, will Jussie Smollett end up having a prison fiance or a prison wedding? I mean, is that a sick question to ask? Hey, Jussie. Oh no. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? I had to borrow that for the Star Report, man. That's their skit right there. But I gotta ask the question. And any of y'all that think this is about race, any of y'all that think this is about like his civil liberties were damaged or his reputation was damaged and all this fake glamour that y'all, I don't know, somehow or another have indulged in for the past couple of years via this whole YouTube thing and online superiority over TV and what's normal in life. Jussie Smollett is going to be bigger coming out of prison than he was before he went in. That much I can guarantee you. So synonymous wise with Tupac, that's what they call him. That's what he called himself, the gay Tupac. So I guess Pac about to go do his big. We got to give him a nickname. Let's give him a nickname. Rainbow Pac. Rainbow Pac about to go do his hard bit. Maybe on his knees. Let me stop. Hi, my name is Jussie Smollett. I can't even do my bit. Could you imagine? I know this is just giggles or whatever, but literally, how bad could it be for a man that is openly gay to get sent to a man's prison? This is all the question I'm asking here. I don't think I'm asking too much here. I don't think this requires a lot of thinking. I just want you guys to sit back and contemplate on that and say to yourself, this guy's only doing that. First of all, the sentencing itself is just freaking and disrespectful. You pulled off a worldwide attentive story, had millions and millions of city dollars spent on your story, which was a fabricated lie, then turned around, used state and local resources up that could have been put somewhere else in the hood, stopping some kids from getting killed or something like that. And you only get 150 days in prison and a $25,000 fine. Doesn't he have a white husband? Does he have a white husband? I don't know if he have a white husband, but I heard he like that chocolate, honey. He like Africans. Jussie like to go to the Sahara. I don't know if Jussie, I don't know. I never got into his personal life like that, but one thing I can say about Jussie Smollett, he's an actor through and through. He acted in the courtroom when he turned up and he said, if anything happens to me, know that I didn't kill myself. Don't nobody want to kill you. Stop. You're trying to make yourself bigger than what you are. Then the whole thing, when he's walking through the gate, he had to say one more thing. Throws up the black power fist and says, hey, I'm fighting for the people. You don't speak for me. I don't do stuff like that. And the whole bunch, most of the guys I know don't do antics like that. You got a nose and a freaking, what's they put on your neck in bare, breezing, cold winds of Chicago. Stop it. And then you continue to lie as you're headed to jail. That's some audacity. And this goes to show you what people are nowadays mentally. They are actually trying to live who they think they are in their head and convey it to us. And if we don't accept it, then there's a problem and there's something wrong with you, which we all know there's nothing wrong with you. You just live in the diagram of normalcy. And speaking of normal, let me get off of Jussie because we all know him. I just wanted to make sure I had my take and had my say in it. I think you're a con. I think you're corny. But one thing I do know, based on how this business works, you're going to be bigger than you were when you went in. And you're counting on that. And that's why you're willing to do those 150 days like nothing. And the whole thing of, I would have told y'all I was guilty months ago. No, you wouldn't have. Ain't a man walking this earth. Listen, if a man goes out right now tonight and goes and cheats on his girlfriend, do you think he's going to come home and tell his girlfriend? And I'm not saying all guys. There's some bold guys out there. But most guys, if you're smart enough, you're not going to come home, tell your girlfriend, hey, I cheated on you, by the way, and then fall asleep. If you do, good luck to you. And legends live forever. Legends live forever. If I tell a girl I cheated on her, I'm not going to sleep. So my point is with Jussie, you told a lie. You got caught in a lie. Let it go. You're about to be big. All the superstardom that you want is going to come at the end of that 150 days. And you're not even going to do that 150 days. You're probably going to do like 45. People are going to be hitting up your social media. People are going to be sending you well wishes. People are going to be like, I can't wait for Jussie to... Yes, believe this. This is how people operate and how they think now. This is not a normal world we live in anymore. And the stakes and the interaction between the community, the culture, and people that they feel are important are like this. They mesh them together. So they have no outside real, if you could say, rhetoric as far as determining where their dignity is, where their morality is. There is none. And this goes for all people. This is not just brown and black people. This is for all people, okay? All people. I know a lot of people get caught up sometimes because I speak specifically about brown and black. Well, of course I would. I'm half Latino and half black. Why wouldn't I? You know what I mean? It's on my birth certificate, so why wouldn't I? But with that taken into measure, I'll say again, Jussie Smollett and Jussie or whatever his name is going to be bigger coming out of prison than he was going in. That much you can feel assured. And there's going to be offer after offer to do an interview with him. It's going to be offer after author of publishers that want to interview him, reread, people that want him to maybe even coin a freaking biography. You know, a lot of people don't know who Jussie Smollett and his family are, the Smolletts. I do. I grew up watching them. And Jussie was amongst the youngest ones. But the Smollett brothers and sisters have been acting for well over, I'm going to say, if I had to make a guess, at least 30 years. Because I remember seeing Jussie on the TV show that I used to watch when I was younger. He's nothing but a couple years younger than me. And I remember seeing him on that show. And I remember seeing his sister Journey. Then there's another one. She doesn't act too much anymore. She got married. She's actually as pretty as Journey. His sisters are beautiful, you know. But I remember seeing them act for so long. I remember seeing promos, and I know a lot of y'all do too. I remember seeing promos of shows they were in and everything like that. This is a well-read family. They're biracial kids, but wow, well-read family. And Jussie's grandmother, who was 102 years old, talking all that smack in the courtroom. Man, listen. Granny, go sit. Who brought Granny to the courtroom? We're going to bring Grandma Earl on up here. Somebody get Grandma Earl a wheelchair and the teeth. We're going to bring her on up to the courthouse. I want to go up here too. That's my baby. I raised Jussie. Told him everything he knows. Woo! I'm just saying. Moving on, I want to talk about Ryan Coogler real quick. And I know a lot of y'all are like, oh man, you just now getting into this stuff, because I'm not like one of those, you got to jump at the story now on everything. Everything doesn't require you jumping at the story. Because sometimes you can put and dedicate a couple hours into talking about the situation or whatever the case may be. And as you're talking, new things are developing. You understand what I'm saying? Of significance in a lot of times, which has been the case with Ryan Coogler. I did the initial read on this, and it's still on the page here, and I'll also included a link in the description box along with my PayPal and Cash App or whatever. So make sure y'all pay attention to that too. But there are 2 links in there, and they'll take you to videos that are on my page of the situation. Ryan Coogler is married to a black woman, the woman that you see in the how you call it, the avatar, the picture or whatever that's on this video is his wife, and she's pregnant. You can't tell it because they won't allow the space in the, upload the picture, but his wife is pregnant at the time. She was pregnant anyway. So he's married to a woman of color. So I can imagine going into this bank and you come in there with all good intentions. You're trying to be indiscreet and all the case may be or whatever. And then Karen, like Karen, wants to turn up, because in reality, this is what I think, and I'm going to stick with this. There was one thing that pointed out when I heard the whole entirety of the 911 call, which was this. There was a couple of questions that were asked there, and to me, it was a speculative. Like one question, for example, I want you to realize 2 things. One, the woman that's making the 911 call, she's black. 2, the lady that's the dispatcher on 911, she's black. 3, the cops that show up, well, it's 4 of them, and 4 of them are black. Hands are on guns, and you hear it in the video, right? You hear him lock up in the video. Once they see that Ryan Coogler is not going to resist or whatever, why would he? He works for Disney. He's made one of probably the most provocative movies in our lifetime, which was Black Panther, that saw numerous awards, and most cases, and most people will say, the most celebrated movie, or one of the most celebrated movies out of maybe 4 or 5 of them in the whole Marvel universe, multiverse that we have now. So make no mistake about it. And with Chadwick Boseman passing away, it even made more highlight of that particular movie, because it's now famed, just coming of age, in my opinion, actor, had now passed away too, and the means of which he passed away. So we always want to say RIP to Chadwick Boseman. The problem I had with this woman doing that phone call was 2 things. One, she gave herself away. And this is where she gave herself away, and she became tongue-tied. And that was when this happened. She said, he showed me his ID. He showed you his ID. Okay, well, he showed you that ID. I'm pretty sure he didn't have a mask on. Meaning, Ryan Coogler didn't look like this in his ID picture. Ryan Coogler didn't have one of these on in his ID picture, but Ryan Coogler had one of these on when he was in the bank. You understand what I'm saying? Now, she says she looked at the ID, but she says, I didn't look at the name. You lying, prissy, wannabe white girl. Yes, she did. And she tries to talk so articulate, but that ghetto just keeps coming out of her. She checked his ID and he had a debit card. Exactly. I know the whole story, trust me. This is the part you got to pay attention to. She said she didn't look at the name on the ID. Then why did you ask him for the ID if you wasn't going to look at the name and you were so uncomfortable and nervous? I got to watch for the. I'm going to teach y'all about this language too in a few seconds, but just let me get through this first. If you were so nervous and you were so antsy and you thought that something was going to happen to you, then why when you look at the ID that was handed to you and see the name on it in case something did happen to you? Oh, no. She looked at that name and she recognized that name. And what she was trying to do was the same thing that racists have done for years. Let me put you in your place. And you know who used to institute that for these same races? Mammy. Mammy. Oh, mammy. That's right, mammy. This woman had a mammy mentality. And I hate to say it like this, but that mammy mentality is really, really, really prevalent in the South. I notice from living in the South, and especially when you get to Georgia and you get to that Florida line, that mammy comes out. Because, see, there's still women around in the deep South that run around and they get recognized and respected as being a mammy. She say do something, that you say, okay, mammy. You don't say mammy, but you say, okay. You know what I mean? A lot of times these guys will praise and hold herald to these women that have done nothing their whole lifetime but cause ruckus, always been in the middle of something, always started some crap, always talked about people, etc., etc., etc. And they'll hold them in high regard and call them Miss Such and Such and etc., etc., etc. Not knowing in the back of their mind, if God came down tomorrow, this woman is going straight to hell. Let me read what y'all writing in here. The whole point of checking IDs is for the name and the birth date. Exactly, superstar Bella. The bank teller, the bank manager should be fired. Ryan could have been killed, and that's my point right there. Because at one part of this video, when the cops do show up, the black cops, when they do show up, guns drawn, when they do show up, she says, good job. Good job. Good job. I want to say to y'all, good job, because even though I wish they would have sent some white cops down here, which I was hoping, old master sent down his brownies. And you know why he sent down them brownies? Because it was a brownie on the phone. That's why. There was a brownie freaking 911 dispatcher. Y'all don't get this? This was all orchestrated and constructed by people that look just like you, not the white man. The white man ain't had nothing to do with this. You use the white man's facilities, but the people that came running on their horses and galloping, oh, those were master servants, overseers. Good job. Now she's going to need a job. And you know what the funny part about this is? And I was going to get to that, and she beat me to it. Somebody's going to hire her. Oh, somebody's going to hire her. Somebody's going to hire that gal. Somebody's going to hire her. Oh, believe that. See, I believe deeply in there is a segment of women within Black culture, Latin culture, and white culture that have it in for men of color, Black and brown. I've seen it a million times. I was getting ready to do a story about this Latino brother out of California who had been accused of doing something to this woman at her job. Come to find out, it wasn't even him. It was a dude that just eerily looks similar to him. But once you see their faces side by side, you know for a fact, okay, well, I can see the resemblance. But I mean, they could even pass for cousins. But the fact that she was so adamant that it was just man disturbs me. And the fact that the cops took her word for it disturbed me even more. See, this is what you call weaponizing the police. And that's what this woman did. And she knew what she was doing intentionally, because in the step of, when we're looking at society, a lot of people have this belief, and I mentioned this to you before. And I know this, listen, you can't tell me, and I hate to sound cocky when I say this, but you can't tell me nothing about money. Since I was a kid, I worked for millionaires at those record companies. You understand what I'm saying? I've seen every amount of money you could think of. I remember saying the word Bugatti and people didn't even know what the car was. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the God honest truth. You know what I mean? I've seen every make and model. Sometimes when I see people riding around me in old model BMWs or old model Mercedes or whatever, I look to myself and I say in turn, I got the pictures and video to prove it. I put it up before. But I look to myself and I say, I remember when that came out. And I remember riding in that, you know what I mean? When it came out, the year it came out. So what you have is, because of social media, you have a lot of women out here that are influenced by the higher life, a life that most of them have never witnessed or never had. That was my purpose of saying that. You understand what I'm saying? Women that have never partied in Miami 4, 5 o'clock in the morning up in Fontainebleau, or been up in the Cleveland, or been at this resort or that resort in this state or that state. I've been doing that all my life. Okay, all my adult life. This is a fact. So when I meet somebody and they come around me, unbeknownst to them, because I dress down, You understand what I'm saying? Everybody know me. I'm right here on live, so y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm very dressed down right now. This is not how I look. I usually had ties, uh, the whole nine. I'll put some pictures up for you. The hat, everything. Everybody know how I usually look, but it's not the area for that. Right now, you do better wearing a hoodie, and jeans, and sweatpants and stuff like that. Because there's some crazy people out here, like this woman at this bank teller. See, based on the environment that COVID-19 has created, this woman in the back of her mind feels that not only she was lucky, but this woman felt that she was actually at a tier above the rest of you. And that's what you got to realize. But let me break something down to you about old gal. See, them tellers that work, this is the difference between job title and what you actually make. A lot of people misconstrued this. So let me break it down for you. There's such thing as a job title, and then there's a reality of how much you make, whether that be salary or if you're blue collar, mid tier, and you're working for a check. All right. So this is what I mean by that. A lot of people confuse their job title actually, and if, a lot of people confuse their job title with their worth, how much they make, and actually their position in society. So we, because of COVID-19, have a lot of people out here that are unjustifiably, and if the world was still spinning regularly the way it usually did, these, and I hate to say it like this, and without influence of the internet, these same people that are bragging and boasting to you would be nothing. If you need an example of that, I'll give you a perfect example of that, which is Tasha K and Cardi B. See, Tasha K was out here popping all that hot stuff. I got it. I got it. I got it. You had it until that $4 million settlement came up. Now you don't have it. You get what I'm saying? So it's a difference between pretending and reality. Tasha K pretended, and when reality hit her with Cardi B, the same thing with this young lady. I don't feel sorry for this young lady because she's pregnant, so it prompted her to call the police. Get out of here. I'm not feeling sorry for this lady who says when the cops show up, good job, assuming that this man, who later on we all know is Ryan Coogler, including she knew he was Ryan Coogler. And I don't care what anybody says, I'm sticking on that. Because the way she hesitated when she was explaining that part, I heard her stop. You got to watch people when they stop. Sometimes people stop in mid-sentence because they truly forgot what they were saying. Then sometimes some people stop in mid-sentence, because I know this from two sisters, they're doing that because they're putting together and plotting and orchestrating a lie they're about to tell you. You understand what I'm saying? It's called repetition in octaves. And if your repetition in octaves, to me, goes off of flutters, most people's does. But if it consistently goes off and flutters over and 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 over again, it's a good constant chance that you're lying. And this is what I judge most YouTubers off of. I judge most YouTubers because if you saw that clip that I put up with the brother, Minister Farrakhan, and he was talking about how people talk about each other or whatever, and it's all good till it becomes them. You see what I'm saying? This woman should be brought up on charges. This woman should be tarnished. More people should be talking about her. And people, more importantly, bigger outlets should stop admitting the fact that not only were the cops black, not only was the lady that called the police black, not only was the 911 dispatcher black, but every party inside the freaking thing was black or brown. There was 2 Latin officers that showed up. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. How was he robbing his own account with a draw stuff for $12,000? She can't make sense. And I'm trying to tell y'all, she did it on purpose. Ladies, y'all got to realize there is a segment of black and Latin women that they don't even know. I told a story the other day where I saw this lady in the I went to the grocery store and she was doing everything out of her means. And this woman had to be at least 10, 15 years older than this girl that was ringing her out. And she was just don't feel like she was somebody. She was literally berating this young girl. And I just kept looking at her as she was talking. And I really wanted, my soul was saying, I really, really want to say something to you right now. Because had that been my sister, had that been my cousin or whatever, whatever, and we was in the group as a family in the store, we had witnessed that, like say we popped up to come see her or whatever the case may be, we'd probably be on you right now. You understand what I'm saying? So without resorting to violence or whatever the case may be, my point I'm getting at is this. There are many women that will do stuff like this. I've mentioned this to you guys before on here numerous times. And if you look at some of my old videos, I will show you and you will see the exact same thing I'm talking about. And the only reason it's highlighted right now because it is Ryan Coogler. Or what I'm telling you is there's a whole bunch of entrepreneurs out there. Lil Boosie had this problem when he went in and tried to get 7,000 of his own money out of the bank. I can tell you other stars. Young Thug went through this before. I forgot what homeboy's name, Honcho something. He went through it, had a video up for it. Da, 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 da. The point is, a lot of these people are going to be jealous of you because you boys are millionaires and billionaires. You understand? And you're going into facilities that is at a hierarchy within there. And the brown people that are in there, black and brown, their only job is to assist and serve. You understand what I'm saying? This is the job that they picked. This is the route that they took. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when it becomes wrong is where you think, like this woman did, and your mistaken capacity and how you judge things on a scale. See, this woman judges things on a scale by, I listened to the way she described how he was dressed when he came in there. She lied about that as well because she admitted the fact that he had an olive color hoodie on. But she said, oh, he's got sunglasses, he's got a mask, and he's got a black hat on. As y'all see, I wear my hat like that sometimes. You understand? But being that he wasn't up to script or what she thought was proper, it made her feel nervous, which really brings into question what type of people are you around in your social life? What type of experiences have you had? Has this actual branch ever been robbed before? Now, here's something else that you guys might not know. And like I said, in the description box, there's two links there. There's one for Jussie, so y'all can hear his whole court outburst in entirety, not the snippets. And then there's another video, which I link will take you to. And that's one about that I put together about this whole situation with her and her 911 call or whatever. And I now have her actual physical, because it's footage from the bank. So I actually have the footage of the 911 call. And when you see her and you see how contrived she is, how menacing she is, this woman doesn't look like a nice person. You understand what I'm saying? This is someone bent on her own reputation, a pure narcissist in every moon in every season, and maybe possibly even a sociopath. And the reason I say that is you're pregnant with a child. Now, I don't know what the gender of that child may be, but let's say that gender of that child happens to be a male. How would you feel if a bank teller called the police in the future sometime on your child? You see what I mean? The woman did it. One, she knew who Ryan Coogler was. Two, she tried to get him a little bit more in the dirt. So when those cops did show up, they could have did anything to him. You saw that they had the guns pulled out, the one in front of them, the one behind them. You can't make this up. And this is the danger that woman put him in. Now, I got to say this, it's going to hurt a lot of y'all feelings, but I'm gonna say it how it is. And ladies, if you decide never to come back here again, I understand. And I wish you the best. But this shit got to be said. There's a segment within female population, both black, brown, and yellow, and alike, that somehow or another are looking at men of color, both black and Latin, because I've seen it happen. A lot of Latin dudes sit around and think because they want Pito with light skin, it won't happen to him. Okay, when was the last time you went to go see one of your cousins up at the prison? Explain that. And tú sabes, gente. La barrio, la droga, la bodega, and tú sabes. Chavo. You haven't? Get the fuck out of here. All these acting roles that go on in society nowadays are people basically trying to live their avatar. And this is why I'm so scared of this metaverse thing, because this metaverse thing is going to actually add to this fuel. A lot of ladies within the segment of the culture itself in the United States now have this ongoing I don't even know if you want to say hard on because that's not even the right words. But they have this ongoing thing where they want to trash every man that comes in their thing. If you do not agree with them, he's got to go. If you do not acknowledge them, if they think they're pretty and you don't acknowledge them, I had this happen to me several times. I'll have a girl walk past me and she'll think that I'm supposed to go goo goo gaga like all the other dudes do or whatever, whatever. And I'm like, frankly, my dear, I don't date hood bookers. Here's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't date hood bookers. I never have. I never will. And what I mean by a hood booker, I don't mean a girl that lives in the hood. No, 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 no. I mean a girl that carries on, talks like a man, carries herself like a man. That's one version. The second version is the one that's the wannabe. That's the one I call it. That's what I always knew it as, the wannabe. This is the girl that grew up in the hood, grew up around people in the hood, grew up, has a couple uncles or two doing prison time or have done something illegal in their lifetime. Most of the men or the women in their life ain't never seen no more than 15 to 20 grand a year. And these are the people that she will set aside in her ambition to be on that side of the fence. You understand? Well, you're talking to somebody that's been on that side of the fence. I lived on the shoreline of Connecticut in a condo for years. I used to walk right across the street, and there's at least a mile and a half that ends up at a big, huge beach. Okay. And I remember the whole time that I lived in that neighborhood, I had a neighbor that was a professor, still known to this day, Bill. He was a neighbor of mine. He worked at Yale University as a professor. You guys can look him up. If you ask me, I'll send you the link for him. All right. I'm not going to put him out there like that, but he'll confirm it for you. I had another neighbor that worked at a place called Plum Island, if you guys have ever heard of it. So my neighborhood was affluent, okay? Very affluent. And that's just to give an example of where I lived for so many years. You know, I've only had, what, 3 addresses in my entire life. This is my 4th one. All right. So that's why it was so easy for me to get a lot of things moved around and everything like that. A lot of people have aspirations of living in these neighborhoods. And I remember there was this, I was with my ex at the time. My ex was black. And I remember we were walking around the corner. We were going up to, I think we were going to the store or something. It was during the summertime, but it was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And there was this old black man that lived down there. And by all mistakes and measures, I could just see the alterations in his house. He had been there for a long time and quite well may have been the first, if not only minority of a few that lived down in this neighborhood. My neighborhood was Zone 4. So anybody that's from NL or anybody that lives on the shoreline of Connecticut, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. It's nothing but water. So I'm sitting there, and my girl, she said, yo, you see that? So I look back, and it's this old black man. He's just opens his door as we're walking by, because we're talking. He opens his door as we walk by and then closes it. So I said, oh, okay, he got an issue. He comes back out as we're walking up the hill, walks out to his car, which he doesn't have to do. He could have did it from the freaking what's name, and hits the alarm. But he wants to make sure we see him. So when we come back down the hill, he's back out there. Now he's out there again. Like it takes like 2 seconds to get to the store. We come back out and come down the hill, and he's back out there. And I'm like, we come to find out after I asked neighbors, he was one of the first blacks that was in that neighborhood, right? And he took pride in being the only black person in that neighborhood. He took pride in that. Like, I moved away from all y'all. I'm down here, you know? And I can tell you right now, my neighborhood right now is mostly black and Latino, right? I love my neighborhood. I love the vibe of my neighborhood. I see a lot of things that can be done in this neighborhood. And I have to tell you, I feel more comfortable living around people that are like me than I ever did in all those years living around the majority of Italians and Greeks or whatever. And I say that not with saying that I didn't have friends down there and all that, because of course I did. They're still my friends to this day. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, in the wide scale of things, when you move into these neighborhoods a lot of times and you live in certain places, especially like I did, I lived in a very nice condo complex. When you move into these neighborhoods, a lot of times you're susceptible to certain things. And I know a lot of people think because either they're biracial or they're light-skinned black or they're light-skinned Latino, that somehow or another they fit in. And I'm here to tell you, I can't tell you how many times that I had white neighbors who felt comfortable talking about Latinos in front of me. And I've heard other Latinos tell me stories about how whites talk shit about black people in front of them. And they feel totally comfortable with it, not knowing that this person that's Latino might have a cousin or a nephew or whatever that's half black, or this person that's black may have a cousin or a niece or a nephew that's half Latino. That's pretty much we're packed into neighborhoods most of the time as a culture, blacks and Latinos. And it's been this way for 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, shit, you go back and watch Carlito's Way, prove that. People's Puerto Rican Revolutionary Army, when they climbed up to the top of the Statue of Liberty and put the Puerto Rican flag on top of the Statue of Liberty. Only real Latinos gonna know about that. But when you have these urges to want to move away from your own, both socially, both locally, it really, and then you want to rally for causes of black and brown people from these neighborhoods. And that's cool. But when you start getting the same behavior that's condescending with the oppressor on your way and on your journey and on your ambitions that you have, there's something wrong with that. And that's what this young lady did. This lady was willing to sacrifice Ryan Coogler, and many other women are willing to do this as well. I've seen dudes I've known, both black and Latino, by 32 years old, 33 years old. These men look like they 50, 60 years old because of what a woman is taking them through, whether it be with their kids, whether it be with whoever. Then there's another segment of women that are good women that get overlooked, that would never doing these things to you. And what I'm telling you ladies is, y'all need to start putting the nail in the hammer and start going after girls like this. Every last one of you female vloggers right now, y'all talk about that, all that unity and all that healing BS, which I think a lot of times is BS, but I think a couple of y'all are really true about it. All this healing and togetherness and unity. Well, if y'all want that to come to fruition, first thing y'all need to do is stop avoiding this story that I'm talking about right now and go full-fledged in on this chick. I need to find out what her name is, for one. You understand what I'm saying? I found on my own the break bench that she worked at down there in West Ferry, you know what I'm saying, in Atlanta. I even have in the video, I have a video of the complex and the location where she works at. So any of y'all that are in Atlanta, I know I got a lot of followers here. So some of y'all in Atlanta, because y'all check in with me, I need y'all to put in the description box or in the comment or somewhere, in the comment section or in the comments box right here, and tell me what this woman's name is, because I like to know her name, not to do something to her. I don't oblige anybody to do anything to her. Do not go up and put your hands on this woman. Do not go up and verbally attack this woman. This woman is pregnant. She might go into labor, whatever. That's not fair to the kid. But after she had that kid, go in on her. No, I swear. But right now, I don't see any women doing cast about this woman. Not into the matter that it should be. You understand? And I have a problem with that. Another thing I have a problem with, like I'm going to say again, I have a problem with major media outsources. And I don't know about you guys, but I've seen it where everybody is omitting from the story because evidently it makes more of a story if you paint the picture that this is some act of racism, which it's not. No, this is not an act of racism. This wasn't a white person that made the call. This wasn't a white person that said, hey, let's get, it wasn't even white cops that showed up. It wasn't even a white 911 dispatcher to triangulate the information to the cops. So where do you go with this story? You understand what I'm saying? I'll say again, there were 6 to 7 cops that showed up and all of them were black or Latino. I think one of them was white, maybe. But the other ones, I can tell by accent. I know a Latino accent from a mile away. You can't fool me even if you try to be like, oh, hi, my name is Bill Hernandez. I hear that lisping. Eh, papi, tú sabes, no? So, I know it when I hear it. So I'm just appalled. I feel sorry for Ryan Coogler. But more so, like I said, there's a bigger issue here. There's a segment of women that are willing to sacrifice you. And that's what they were saying. Anything could have happened to Ryan Coogler. I don't know how much I can express this to you guys. Anything could have happened to him. And we would have had the director of one of the most acclaimed movies that ever came out that so many people were proud of. So many people were proud of. I can't even get out of my head that this woman, her child that she has, is eventually one day going to watch that movie and be like, that's the man that mommy called the police on for no reason other than getting 12K out of his account because she said, how can he have it? How can he get it? She was jealous of this man. And I'm trying to tell you, yes, women are haters too. Yes, chicks are haters too. They hate on other women. They hate on men. They hate on a lot. There is a segment in the population of Black, white, and Spanish women that are just haters. And I'm tired of sitting here trying to pretend like they don't exist, overlooking the fact, them being allowed an excuse like that Brink Batch manager did with Ryan Coogler, talking about, oh, well, you know, she's pregnant, as you can see, and she's just having a bad day. There's no excuse for that, lady. And for you to sit there and offer an excuse, that older statehood senior Black woman, offer that excuse lets me know that you've been doing excuses like that for a long time. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. If one of you pickaninnies, one of you Marias, one of you Karens attempt to do this with me, be prepared to go to court. I am going to sue you. And like I said, I proved my point before. I'm going to sue you, and I'm going to make sure the next 10 to 15 years you spend paying me. That means every time you get a paycheck, half of it, a portion of it, at least 1/4 is garnished off to me. I'm going to make sure of it. And I'm going to invest your money well. Don't worry about it. But I'm going to make sure that I sue the hell out of you. I've got trauma. I can't believe this. This is such an embarrassment. I know how to play the role better than you. Because, see, what you saw in that young woman was an acting role, if you guys don't get what I'm saying here. It was an acting role. She wasn't scared for her life. She knew that man wasn't there to steal nothing. She knew that man wasn't there to rob the bank because he wouldn't have gave you his ID and filled out a freaking bank slip. So you shouldn't be working there. And the woman that was the bank teller, the woman that was the bank manager or the branch manager herself utters out her own words. I'm sorry, she wasn't seasoned. Again, making an excuse for this woman. Now I'm going to put up that video so you guys can see that clip of it too from the bank's perspective and this woman actually on the phone. And you tell me, does this look like a woman that looks like she was bothered? Does this look like a woman that seems like she was temperate? No, what she wanted to do was she wanted to be held synonymous with white women. There are a lot of women of color. I've seen it with Asian women. I've seen it with Indian women. I've seen it with Latin women. I've seen it with Black women that are substituting their male and running after white men, and most of the time, poor white men. This is what I find. So I think a lot of the times these women really just want this man's skin color. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, as they're chasing after white men, they're making fun of white women who white men make. It was not staged. Superstar Bella, I don't know, yeah. Whether it was all staged. This wasn't staged, bro. This wasn't staged. This wasn't staged. And then once again, like I said, you're giving an excuse. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that any of the other incidents that happened, say with Lil Boosie, do you think that was staged? Lil Boosie had the same incident happen 3 weeks earlier. How about many of other stars have had the same thing happen? Let me ask you this. What do you think the famed director of Black Panther would have to stand to gain from this, being that Black Panther 2 is supposed to be scheduled to come out in, I believe, September? What would he have to gain from this? Answer that question. Write that in the comment section. What would he have to gain from this? Marvel, if you follow Marvel, are brilliant geniuses when it comes to marketing, okay? They don't need situations like this to mess with the Disney brand. Disney, and the reason Ryan Coogler was in Atlanta is because most of the Marvel movies for the past well on 6 to 7 years have, including the shows that are now for Disney Plus, have been filmed on the sound stages that have been set up down in Atlanta for the longest. Same thing with Harry, same thing with many other directors that are living in the Atlantic area, staying in the Atlanta area while they're filming or whatever the case may be. Ryan Coogler lives in California. So going to this little hole in the wall, because that's what it was, a little hole in the wall branch that's inside a pavilion that has stores to the likeness of Kroger's. That's why I said I know where this place is. You go straight down Dunwoody, you're running right into it. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Downtown past the Marriott. I stated that Marriott before. Past the Marriott, past the CNN building, past Gladys Knight's restaurant. You keep going straight down that strip, you're gonna run into North Dunwoody and all that. I just found out that the woman who called the police on Ron was African American, so that definitely was staged. I saw the video. Exactly. I had the video up here on the page. So that's why I'm asking you guys, what do you think? He was just trying to be low key. That's it. And the thing that I'm glad Superstar Bella said that, because the pure simple fact, this guy has done this numerous of times and said, he explained, I've done this numerous of times and never had a problem. Now I got a problem when I come to Atlanta. Oh, don't come to that branch no more, bro. And it's sad to say, but I got to go back to what I'm saying. And y'all gonna hate this when I say it, but I say it with regard. And ladies, I know y'all been through the same thing. How many times have you been in a restaurant? How many times have you been in a store? How many times have you been in many different places, right? And people that look just like you either want to show their butt and don't want to pay attention to you, either want to show their butt and be rude and nasty to you on purpose. I've had a woman for no reason whatsoever, and this is why I said a lot of it has to do with their ego or lack thereof. I've had a woman, and I had this happen at Starbucks maybe a week ago. I was in Starbucks and I watched the behavior. I always watch people's behavior. I told you socialism was a thing of mine when I was at college. It was my minor. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and that means people's behaviors, natural behavior specifically. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching this woman, and I'm watching how she conducts and interacts herself with this white man, right? She takes his order. Hi, sir. How are you doing? You know, they put that little voice on. Like they grew up in, Hidden Valley all their life. They do the little corny laugh. Translated easily. Don't you worry, boss. I'm here to serve you and serve you well. What you want? You say you want coffee? I got you, boss. Easily trans. That's what you hear. You know what I'm saying? As a person of color, that's what you hear. Is there anything else I can help you with, Master Johnson? Anything else? You want me to dance? This is how it's translated to our ears. And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to all that, and I try not to listen to it, but I'm like, okay, I just want my coffee. So I go get my coffee. It's my turn in line or whatever. As soon as I get to the line, do you know this woman cuts off all forms of communication and refuses to speak to me? And as I'm ordering my coffee, she's talking in these short little burst sentences to try to make herself feel as if she's big. Chick, wake up. This is what I mean by job position versus what you actually make and what your tier is in life. You're making my coffee. My coffee, which I'm about to pay you for. And if you keep on being nasty, I want you to know that I already predicted that you were going to be nasty. So I started filming you 4 minutes ago, which I did. And the reason I did that is because your intentions were to be rude and nasty and callous to me. So I'm going to show you my brand of nasty, rude, callous behavior itself. And it goes with sending an email to your corporate branch. See, there's no, unlike Dunkin' Donuts and all that stuff, right? You can't franchise with Starbucks like that. You understand what I'm saying? And if you do, oh, you better not mess it up. You better not mess it up. I can tell you that much. Their brand is so solidified and they so whole. And that's one thing I can't say about Starbucks. Their brand is so solidified and their brand is so stagnant that they're not going to allow that type of behavior being interacted with their customers, whether it be black, white, Spanish, whatever. I remember a while back down in Philadelphia, there were some young men that were waiting for somebody to show up or whatever, and they sat down, they didn't have any coffees or whatever, and the employees proceeded to call the police on them. Well, that employee was promptly fired along with the woman that backed her for calling the police, as an example. These were women, once again. There is a war going on. And I don't know what that war is, but it's set out to demonize men in general, but specifically Black and Latin men. And I think a lot of it has to do with this, the amount of money these men are making. I saw people I remember when he died, Kobe Bryant died, there were actually women online that their pet peeve was he had a Latin wife. And I said to myself, what a despicable person you would have to be to sit there and chastise Kobe Bryant upon his death. because of his wife. That just lost me. Now these are the same women that, now hold this. These are the same women that go to work every day with white and Latin women and smile and cheese and oh my God and all that shit with them all the time. But you have a problem never up to the point where they date one of the men. Now you have a problem. That's why I say a lot of this toxic feminism bull crap that's going on right now has a lot to do with reverse sexism. A lot of it has to do with racism. A lot of it, especially when it's being perpetrated by women of color, this segment of women of color, both black and Latin, because I've heard it on their podcast. They quick to call out a white girl, they quick to call her names or whatever, but yet and still you chasing after their daddies and their brothers to date them and marry them. You're making podcasts about it. You're putting up, date who you want to date. Most of the time, these women that call themselves divestors or whatever, I wouldn't date you anyway. I gotta be front with you. I wouldn't date you anyway. What I find is most of the time they have a bland, boring personality. Most of the time they're very cantankerous, they're very narcissistic, they're very money driven, they're very overly career driven for small careers at that. None of these women that talk all this big stuff, there's only a few women in the world that are actually multi-millionaires and billionaires. Very few. So when I hear chicks say, oh, I started up a business, I know a guy that started up a business 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Is that supposed to impress me? I went to school, so I went to college too. Is that supposed to impress me? I work at so and so. I worked at a record company for 17 years. Is that supposed to impress me? You know what I mean? A lot of these women are almost like in battle with you, you know? And it is evolved from just a social platform. Now it's in society where they're willing to sacrifice you. And that's what I'm telling you, man, especially you young men. I see a lot of stories with you guys being set up. I got to add this in. Chris Brown is a perfect example of that. There was a woman suing Chris Brown just recently, saying that Chris Brown sexually assaulted her. And, well, when we hear a voice message that she left, she says, I just want to sleep with you. I just want to be with you. I know we've never slept together before, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you said that he sexually assaulted you. But this message you left is from a couple of days before you went and filed the proceedings. So you see what I mean? Chris Brown had to vindicate himself. Ryan Coogler had to vindicate himself. And many other men have had to vindicate themselves. So when we hear a lot of these women say, and they'll always say this, a segment, they'll say, you better not date the white girls. They'll call the police on you. You gonna get in trouble. No, Shaniqua, you gonna call the police. I better not date you. Maria, no, you gonna call the police. I better not date you. These women are detrimental to not only your existence, these type, and I underline type, these type of women are not only detrimental to your existence, they're detrimental to your life. Because I'll say again, anything could have happened when the police pulled up on Ryan Coogler. Say he didn't know and that bank had a history of being robbed. They pulled out guns drawn. Yo, my man, can you do it? And what really upset me was it was black cops, and they almost felt like they just knew he was guilty. Let me read what's right here. I want to hear what somebody's saying. Kobe Bryant grew up in Italy and spoke fluent. I don't need a history lesson. I was shocked he spoke those languages because I'm learning language. Okay, this has nothing to do with this. My issue with Kobe had nothing to do with the white, but the way he treated his parents versus the way he treated his wife's mother was simply disrespectful. Okay, maybe you need to dig a little bit more into that because his wife's mother actually was cantankerous. I'm talking about Kobe wife's Vanessa's mother. She had a long history of being cantankerous, complaining. She was given money multiple times. She was, for the very part, even after Kobe had died, she was a very nasty woman. And if I'm right, she actually tried to sue Vanessa Bryant because she thought Vanessa Bryant had paid into this huge amount of some sum of money, which she did. Kobe Bryant was world renowned. As a result of that, I see nowhere, even with Vanessa Bryant complaining about Kobe Bryant, her mother herself, I don't see where you will be despised by him. See, that's what I mean. It seems like a lot of times, no matter what the story is, Just like with this Ryan Coogler situation. I'm not attacking you, Bella. I'm just stating facts. The way that a lot of women are conditioned now, it's like, even if the woman is dead wrong or whatever, I gotta find an excuse for her. I gotta find some wiggle room for her. I gotta put up something. So even when we talk about Kobe Bryant, we're like, but the way he treated his mother-in-law, but the way he treated his parents. For what all I know, his parents tried to steal money from him too. I know if you guys don't remember Gary Coleman, y'all guys remember him? Gary Coleman used to play on the show called Different Strokes. I used to watch reruns of it when I was coming up or whatever, like most of y'all did. If you anywhere between like 35 plus, you remember what I'm talking about. Even 30 plus, you remember what I'm talking about. And so Gary Coleman had a very sad story because one, he wasn't seeing all the residuals he was supposed to be seeing for the rebroadcasting of that show and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That was one thing. But two, the worst thing about it was this. Gary Coleman died broke. He died of a fall, you know what I mean? Which is very tragic or whatever. And Gary Coleman, if you guys don't know, he was a midget. And he died broke. You know the reason why he mostly died broke and had work in his elder years, which really wasn't elder years. He was in his 50s when he died. I think he was like 53, 54. He died about maybe 8, 10 years ago, maybe a little bit less, more. His parents had been taking his money, buying everything they wanted to. You don't believe me? Look up the story yourself. And there's millions of different other black stars that had the same problem, Latin stars as well. I remember the guys from Menudo, they were complaining. A couple of other people were complaining about their parents. Even most recently, look at Britney Spears and her situation. This is not something that's just far gone and made up. Set aside Kobe Bryant for a minute, and I understand what you're saying, but set aside Kobe Bryant for a second and look at it like this. I'm not giving this woman an excuse. And if you ladies want to give this woman an excuse, or if any woman gives her an excuse based on the fact of her gender, then I consider you part of the ops. You're not with me. Because if you want to give a woman like this an excuse after what she's blatantly done right in front of your face, the whole world has seen it. And for some reason, because of this thing of people being afraid to chastise women that are in the wrong nowadays in society, we're letting it flow and letting media outlets admit the story. I watched the Young Turks do a whole story, and I've written in the comment section. Y'all go over there and see my comment for yourself, so y'all think I'm BSing. I wrote in the comment section that Chink, who's not even American by birthright, no offense to you, you're an Egyptian or Arab man that migrated to the United States. You do not know our culture in totality the way you're pretending you do. And I hate when he presents the culture of America the way he does, because it's from his aspect of his country. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's unfair to me and many others. When he did this story, based on the fact that Chet he's a liberal, okay? So he has a lot, and I'm not a conservative, but I'm damn sure not a liberal. He has a whole bunch of liberal black women and liberal women in general over in his camp. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what kind of hex or whatever he puts on them or whatever, but he caters to them because that's his demographic. So he admitted from the whole story, not only that this was a black woman and black participants within the whole story, from the cops to the 911 dispatcher, he admitted all that. When, if he read from wherever he read from, you always have to do at least 2 to 3 sources, because one source will usually have it messed up or have it skewed from the beginning. So it's always good to have 1 to 2 to 3 sources. I learned this when I was with the record companies. Always have more than one source. When I was at Bad Boy, I remember one thing. Don't have just one source of information. Have at least several. Because that way, if somebody says something or something wrong happens, at least you can say, well, 5 other people were saying the same thing. And that'll hold them stick. That's why. You understand? Everybody rushed to the end of the story or whatever, and stories like it. But everybody, except for the Young Turks, took the notion to put in the dialogue, hey, these women are black. They did this. And I think Chink did it, Chet, or whatever his name is, I think he did it over there at the Young Turks for the pure simple fact he didn't want to disarray his demographic. His demographic of women. I've seen TMZ. They did the same thing. They wanted to have a little round table, when everybody gathers around, and then the little fat white chick on there, I don't know what her name is. I never like her. She's just the most cantankerous, unhappy, heavy woman I've ever seen in my life. She sits on there and she's like, well, you walk into a bank and you hand a note and then damn, you know, her whole I do everything perfect stance, and you know, like I love how people pretend and act. I do nothing irregular. I do everything perfect because I'm a people pleaser. That means you're worried about what people think of you all the time. I don't care what nobody thinks of me. Ain't y'all ever seen that before? It proved that you were bigger than me. Prove that your resume is better than mine. Prove that you have more education than me. Prove that you could pick up loose facts about real history, not just some hood booger bullshit or yo, look at my new car that I paid $12,000 for. You know, that stuff doesn't impress me. I have men ride past me, and y'all ever seen them CRX Jeeps? That's a woman's Jeep. Oh, the world, that's a woman's Jeep. Any of them little, you know, them little CRX Honda Jeeps, and you know, those are women's cars. You understand what I'm saying? And I'll see a lot of men driving old used CRXs or whatever, and they'll just be, you know, got the key and shaking the key and coughing or whatever. And I'm like, I said it one day and I accidentally said it, and the dude heard me and I didn't even care. I said, yo, that's a woman's Jeep. And he had nothing to say. I ain't never seen nobody freeze to get hit with reality. Yo, dude, that's a woman's Jeep. It's crazy. He did that like the Benz. Y'all remember the Benzes? The C, what was it? The C model Benzes. That's a woman's Benz. That's not a man's Benz. That's a woman's Benz. Oh, you know C model. If you're driving a C model Benz right now, that's a woman's Benz. It's meant for a woman. Yeah, Ryan had a deposit. Says no excuses on either pregnant or not. He did not hand. Say what? He did not hand a note. He handed a deposit slip. Now on the back, which is not uncommon. Yeah, you're right about that. He handed her the deposit slip. You know, as simple as that. He said, "Don't count my money in front of everybody. Look how I'm dressed. Look how I look. People gonna look at me like I'm crazy when I walk out of here. I'm already dressed indiscreetly because chick, I was on the freaking Oscars. I've been in every publication that you can think of across the world, including Variety and everywhere else. And as time progresses and we get closer to the due date for Black Panther 2 this year, I'm going to be even more in the spotlight. So, of course, I'm going to come into this little raggedy, tickety tick bank, what you think, because based on my color and I'm one of your men, you think that I don't have enough, or it must be some illicit way that I came in here and got 12K. So now you have these women that are of the culture that are now matching their thought processes with not white people, but racist white people. And they're doing this with the advantage of thinking they're going to fit in, they're going to get ahead. I watch Latinos do the same thing all the time. And I'm like, do you know how many times I've had somebody white come to me and have a conversation when they were upset at somebody Latino and talk shit about somebody Latino and think it's going to be all right with me? Look at me. And I'll be laughing about it because they think because I'm brown, oh, well, he might, you know what I mean? They never really dig in. So it'd be funny to me. I've had that happen, I swear to God, at least 30 to 40 times in my whole entire life, where I will get white people that will be around me, and they talking about, I remember one time it was talking about somebody's car, and he's like, I can't believe all these freaking, what do you call them, Goyas or something he called about a name. I said, what are you calling Goya? And I was about to punch him in his mouth, and like something just stopped me. I don't know what it was, but like I remember that happened not even a year ago. It had to be like a year ago, and I remember where I was at, and I was just thinking to myself, I was like, yo, so you probably talk about black people when you're around Latin people. So what you do is you try to make sure no matter what happens, they will never get together, because if they did, that would mean the eradication of you, which is bound to happen anyway because y'all not having babies anymore, white people, evidently, or having fewer. That's one thing you got to worry about with Latinos and blacks. They're going to have some babies. They're going to have some babies. You ain't got to worry about that. That's one thing black and Latino people do very well, and that's having sex and procreating. It's sad to see that this woman chose that direction to go, and there's many more like her out there. That's the only thing I'm saying to you. So don't think that she's an irregular instance. There's a lot of women that are out here doing this, and a lot of these women are right here on YouTube doing this. It's a shame. It's sad. I hate to point it out. I've had a woman actually come to me. I'm going to show you how nefarious a lot of women are. I had a woman, and it took me a minute to catch up with her. This is going to be my last comment just to prove my point. I had a woman that was coming to my page, and many of y'all remember her. She was sending me emails and berating me, talking all kinds of stuff about me or whatever. And she took a comment and she wrote to everybody that was on my comment section, don't donate to him, don't donate to him. I had another one who I later on found out was a woman when I first started, did the same exact thing. Don't donate to him, don't donate to him. So I looked at her, what's her name, and what she didn't realize is when I go into the studio, YouTube studio, I can see everybody that she follows. So I looked at the people that she followed, and it only shows you a couple of them. But I said, you know what? Let me go to the page, see if I can find something that she left. So I look at the comments she left, and she's promoting. I ain't gonna say the blogger's name, but because if I say his name, all y'all gonna know who I'm talking about. But let's call him Sweets. You know what I'm saying? Sweets Monroe, Marilyn Monroe, whatever we call him. Let's call him Sweets. She's at Sweets' page, and she's sitting over there telling everybody, make sure you donate to Sweets, donate to Sweets. So I'm looking at it and I'm saying, oh, okay, I got it. Your job is to create confusion. And if I say something that you don't like, now it's your job, you feel, to make sure you navigate taking me down. Now, I've had this happen now with my page being flagged, not even, 2 weeks ago now, maybe a week ago now. So I was out of commission for 2 weeks, lost a lot of money, lost a lot of donations probably because I didn't have any product. This is my product. When y'all see me up here doing this is my product. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy to me the lengths that these women would go. I would never go that far. There's a lot of women that are online that I do not like. I do not go to their pages and flag their pages. I do not go harassing these women. I do not find out where their pages are, where they may have left something or whatever, and continuously bother. What I will do though, if I see you say something sharp and I'm on a post or something, I will say something back to you. But whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on here, these are the two I find the most guilty of this. Or the other one that's the most guilty out of all of them, which is that TikTok. Stay away from TikTok. I don't mess with TikTok. I mess with some of the clips on TikTok, but for the most part, I do not mess with TikTok. I had a video on TikTok that got something like 75,000 views within a 24-hour period. The next video I put up only gets 3,000 and talk about it gets flagged. No hashtags, no nothing, no cursing in the video, nothing. You know what I'm saying? The first video had cursing and everything in it and was tagged. You go figure that out. I put up a third video. Same thing happens. I'm looking to myself, okay. So the way you get down is you flag people's material. So the same person you complaining about, you go run to. I'm gonna say that again for y'all. The same people that you complain about, the white oppressors, you run to when you got a problem with me. So that means that you work for them. So if you work for them and you rock with them, then you need to stay away from us and you need to be over there with them. Don't come around us acting like a soldier. Don't come around us prying and trying to see what we're doing so you can run back and tell. This goes all the way back to the slave days, whether it's a slave in the Caribbean, whether it's slavery in the United States, whether it's indentured servitude. These are people that do things like this because they're hoping to get a trinket. That's it. Guys, my name is Davin Lewis. Like I said, there's 2 links in the description box. It'll lead you to 2 videos. One is with Jussie. The other one is with Ryan Coogler and his situation. I'm going to throw up another clip in a little bit. And I got some other ones that I'm working on. I've just been doing editing. So that's why I decided to go live or whatever, because I appreciate, let me tell you this once before I get off of here. I want to give a shout out to TMH Global. Thank you for your donation. I want to give a shout out to my girl, Annette from Chi-Town. Thank you for your donation or whatever. And everybody else, feel free to donate as you do with every last one of your own happy-go-lucky vloggers that sick bullshit on you. I'm not going to do that. I give it to you raw. I don't compete with no scripts or whatever. So sometimes I have to, get into the ante of things or whatever. But I try to give it from a perspective that's that I guess you could say natural, so people can identify. And in this world that we're lost in, where everybody wants to be somebody nowadays, I see something that's missing from the pie. People acting natural and being themselves. And I think we need to get back to that. And I know it won't happen overnight, but maybe something needs to happen like it happened in Russia and many other countries where they actually turn this off for us. I think if they turn this off for us, I think people just like this will snap back in line. And then we have to take it to oppose 2 years of not being in society and just being on the internet because of COVID-19 has only intensified these narcissist attitudes from people, including that girl at the bank. So I don't care if that girl at the bank was stressed out because of her pregnancy or whatever. She knew what she was doing step by step in procedure. And as she explained when she was calling the police on that man, and I offer no reserve for her. I offer nothing for her. Guys, those links are in the description box. Also, there's PayPal link and Cash App link. That's Cash App $STRINGERBELL80, Shrinkerbell 80. Come mess with me. You know what I'm saying? As y'all donate, the production value, everything else gets better. And it's starting to get warm, so I'll be able to go and visit here, visit there, visit here, visit there. But I can't visit here, visit there, visit here for free. So make sure you donate. Support the channel, whatever the case may be. If you can't do it today, do it later on or whatever. Those links are in the description box for both PayPal and Cash App. And I got a lot of things coming for you guys. So I'm being real calm about what I upload or whatever the case may be. So I do editing. Then I do editing on top of the editing. I can tell you my whole process, but I have to make sure that everything is proper because I can't give somebody the value of coming destroying what I have with all my followers, all the people on here that truly support me. When I was gone for 2 weeks, there was certain people that was chapping in with me, sending emails or whatever. I seen all y'all. But the one that made sure she picked up the phone every time and always respect that woman is Annette Foster, Chi-Town. What's going on? Because Annette don't see me for 2 or 3 days. She, where this nigga? And I also got to give a shout out to my girl Mitch Bay over in the BX. Shout out to you, Michelle. Happy birthday, belated birthday. I'm going to get over there and bring you a piece of cake or something. No, I mean piece of cake. You know what I'm saying? That's my homegirl right there. So make sure I go celebrate with her, get a little, you know what I'm saying, something. And do that like that, man. Shout out to her. Michelle was another person that just supported me so much, helped me so much. So with this channel and this in general. So I never will turn my back on these women. But what I'm telling you, ladies, is there's a segment of women within the culture that are nefarious, that are evil, and they mean no good. And if you keep on making excuses for these women, if you keep on trying to give them a pass, it's just going to get worse. Because now the ideology becomes, well, I can do what I want to, and there's no repercussions. A lot of these women are starting to find out these men will do you dirty. A lot of these men will put hands on you. A lot of these men don't have the same reserves they did before. And as you prep them and hope for, you know, the police to intervene or whoever, whatever the case may be, I would have liked to see her pregnant butt in the back of that police car from that false report telling me she nervous. And fellas, watch out for women that are out here talking about they feel uncomfortable or whatever. This will leave the scene. Don't never speak to that woman again. Don't try to convince chicks, hey, I'm the one for you or whatever. When she telling you, listen, I got everything spread out. I do Instagram and OnlyFans. You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to work right now. Take her for her word. If it's a chick that says she's got a boyfriend, please believe, if you take the initiative and you start talking to her, sooner or later, if it comes down and she gets exposed, she's going to throw you completely under the bus. That's for all the young men. Do not go and have babies by these women. Do not go trying to be the side dude for these women. It's time for you guys to pull up your, you know what I mean? Pull up your tree trunk and start speaking for yourself. It can't just be me and guys like Fresh and Fit and other guys and Donovan Sharp and other guys. I even go as far as to say this old sweet, well, like dude, what's his name? With the glasses, Kevin Samuels. You can't just have men like that talking for you. You got to talk in unison too. So when you're sitting around, and a lot of you guys, because you were raised by single mothers, you ain't have no fathers around you. I get it. You sit in there and you giggle, and the ha, the he. I see you in the comment section. I say, what is this? A bunch of sissies? A lot of you guys, you sound like women. You argue like women. You have conversations like women. You carry yourself like women. You engage with other men like women. How many times, guys, have you seen another guy walk up to you and he's throwing his foot out trying to show his sneakers to you? Or riding by and so in the car, I want you to see it. I'm a guy. Look at me. I'm a guy. You go show off for women. You don't show off for men. And I've told men to their face before, and they get shocked when I say it. I said, listen, I'm a guy. Or if you ever had a guy walk past you, one of these guys, they walk past you and they start reciting song lyrics in your face and shit. I'm like, hey, I'm a guy. Stop singing to men. Stop singing to men. Another man doesn't want to hear you singing in his ear. Another man doesn't want to do a style off with you like I'm RuPaul. And you better not have my dress on, girl, because that's how I come off. You understand what I'm saying? So, guys, start grabbing yourself a little bit and start conducting yourself a little bit more well than you are. And for the ladies that are involved in these issues or whatever, I want to tell y'all something. If you ever get in trouble or there's ever something really truthfully that goes down, you better start deducting a lot of men that you would have had come to your service based on the resolve and the admitting and the editing of telling this story about Ryan Coogler and the people that were at hand that had to do with Ryan Coogler. Every time that you do that, every time that you sit up to make excuses for this girl or whatever, because the way I saw that black female bank manager make excuses for that girl was the same way I've seen white people make excuses for white people and crappy behavior. And I've seen it before. You understand? So the only thing I'm saying to you is you segment of ladies, if that's how y'all believe and y'all hate men and y'all misandrous, I get it. But just do me a favor. If you don't like men, don't do anything beyond your duty. But when you start doing things that are beyond your duty, then we got a problem. Guys, Cash App, PayPal in the link description box. I will talk to you later also in the pinned comment. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Let me give everybody a shout here. Superstar Bella, thank you. And I appreciate you engaging too. Mr. Urban World, shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in. When you said, let me withdraw, it's turn your way. Exactly. You said, I learned my dad to write deposits with withdrawals and hand them to the slip. When you said, let me withdraw 1,455 out loud. Yeah, that's a problem I have too. Yeah, a lot of bank tellers, they do that. They'll sit there and they'll talk as loud as they possibly can or whatever, especially if you're a man, because you have no discretion or whatever. So discretion or whatever. So you have to hand a note or give some kind of prompt. Listen, I don't want everybody in here knowing what I got. And I know a lot of people walk around, they like to show off. Like, it goes back to what I was saying before. You got to get out of this narcissism thing where you're trying to prove something to somebody. Look what I got. Look what I did. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, especially right now nowadays. Augustus Brown, thank you for showing up. Even though I didn't agree with what you said, I appreciate it. 305 Capricorn, that's one of my own ones right there. Yo, 305 Capricorn said he comes back. She was talking about Jussie. She said he's coming back with a whole African husband from out of prison. Yeah, I don't doubt a superstar, Belly. Like, forget Jussie Smollett. He's another one that's an embarrassment and will throw everybody under the bus for his own narcissism, which he did in court, throwing up the power fist like he's some kind of freedom fighter. So if you don't get out of here, you sweet boy. Like, it was just. This is what I mean, the audacity of these people and how far they will go just to be seen. That teller that was at that bank and Jussie are now riding off the privilege of being seen right now on your local TV screens and your YouTube screens for what they did. I want y'all to sink that in your head, and I'll talk to you later.